Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to be talking about a Christian nationalist W, and that is Michael OFallon being removed from the G3 board. That is the board of directors of the G3 Ministries. And he's also announced his resignation from the Conservative Baptist Network and Alpha and Omega Ministries, which came after the initial publish of this article that we're going to be discussing today in this video and podcast. But first, I want to let you know, Evangelical Dark Web is a Christian news gathering and commentary platform. You can support us over at evangelicaldarkweb.org/join. That is our Patreon-like system. And we also have a free newsletter that gives you, again, all the articles ahead of time and videos as well, because they're in our articles as well. So no reason not to get on that newsletter. It's completely free and it bypasses big tech censorship. The Patreon system is if you want to support us even more, but the least you can do is like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And just an example of the Christian news gathering of Evangelical Dark Web, we were the first to break this story on Michael OFallon exiting G3 Ministries. This is something we called for a couple of months ago, and I'm going to reiterate that as I read the article and we go through the facts. So that's just something to keep in mind. We broke this story and it gained a lot of traction, and I think we kind of, not only reported the news, but we helped make the news as well. So Michael OFallon removed from G3 Ministries board. G3 Ministries has been under a lot of pressure as a result of their vehement opposition to Christian nationalism. And in much of their argument against Christian nationalism, they relied on arguments from James Lindsay, a Christian-hating atheist, to oppose brothers in Christ and employing woke tactics such as labeling Stephen Wolfe racist for complimenting white evangelicals. As it would turn out, amidst a controversy surrounding Christian nationalism, G3 Ministries would quietly remove Michael OFallon from their board of directors. Michael OFallon is the founder of Sovereign Nations and New Discourses, the latter of which spreads woke views on gender. We covered that in a past video. According to G3 Ministries' website, Michael OFallon is no longer listed on the board of directors for G3 Ministries. In his place are Jeff Pate and Jonathan Frazier. This change occurred very recently, as according to the Wayback Machine, Michael OFallon was listed on June 10. So, 2 weeks ago, Michael OFallon was on the board. Now he's not. And two people who weren't on the board are now on the board. I don't know off the top of my head who Pate and Frazier are. I just don't know who they are. But again, keep this in mind. Keep this change, this substitution, if you call it that, in mind. Like, they didn't publicly announce that Michael OFallon's off the board, yet they did update their website quietly. They did do that quietly. So G3 Ministries is a large platform built to equip churches in ways that institutions like the Gospel Coalition have failed. G3 is theologically similar to John MacArthur, as is its target audience. So again, a lot of MacArthur bros love G3 Ministries. I don't blame them. But, just much of the conflict has to do with MacArthur bros versus Christian nationalism. And that's kind of the tension. They try to make it more theological than it actually is. Like it's an eschatology debate. It's really not. I mean, I'm sure some post-millennialists would like to think that it is. They would like it to be one. But it's not. It's simply because most Christian nationalists are probably dispy. So, like John MacArthur. So, anyway, I just wanted to state that because I do think that that's a relevant detail. Nothing against John MacArthur. I'm not a John MacArthur bro, but I don't dislike him either. I think he's a good guy. He's one of the good guys. And, kind of like the most senior of the good guys. As far as age, generation, longevity go. So, in May, Evangelical Dark Web called out Michael OFallon for providing an atheist, James Lindsay, the infrastructure for monetizing his anti-Christian views and statements as sordid gain. So we called out Michael OFallon for sordid gain. That was the primary article, point of the article that we made in May, in the video podcast that we did in May. It was one of the most viewed articles published that month. Additionally, we urged G3 to denounce James Lindsay, as it was clear that they were being influenced by him and not the other way around. So we called, this was in our offer of peace. We asked G3 to denounce James Lindsay and remove Michael OFallon from the board if he refused to as well. So apparently God heard the plea for peace between brothers and moved G3 to take action. So that's how the story was initially reported. We do have an update on that, but again, I wanted to make peace because I don't like the infighting. I really don't. So one of the things was, hey, denounce James Lindsay. You got to stop partnering with him. There's no reason for Christians to partner with him. He hates us. He doesn't share our vision. We can't really work with him on anything because he is woke from 10 years ago. He's just woke going the speed limit. That's not going to cut it. So that, again, that we've already talked about that. So moving on to the update, this comes from a tweet by Michael OFallon. So we can go to the original tweet because that might be more visually appealing. Last week, upon returning, this is Michael OFallon saying, from the UK, I submitted my resignation to the following ministries: the Conservative Baptist Network, G3 Ministries, Alpha and Omega Ministries. I resigned from the steering council board position and from a corporate membership that I had held for nearly 20 years for the following reasons. There's a tremendous amount of lies, disinformation, political gamesmanship, false rumors, and nonsense being showered on ministries that I have been serving with that will not stop as long as I continue to do what I've been doing at Sovereign Nations. I love how he does not include New Discourses, which is also his operation. That's his company. It's not right for these ministries to have to answer to constant false accusations that have my name attached to all manner of fertile fallacies, lies that have legs on a weekly basis. After counseling with my own board, legal counsel, and several longtime ministry friends, and with someone in the political realm that I spoke to in the UK, I concluded that it was best for the ministries that are doing good work for the right reasons to continue to do so without the constant dishonest that I am somehow puppeteering these good ministries' responses to current controversies. He's talking about Christian nationalism there, that he's puppeteering their arguments. And again, I think some people, think that Michael OFallon's calling the shots, and perhaps to some degree he is, but I kind of thought that James Lindsay was actually calling the shots. So that's my personal opinion. To be clear, I've never once paid or remunerated anyone or any organization to oppose neo-integralism. So again, he's already being dishonest here by calling Christian nationalism neo-integralism, because it's not integralist. That's a Catholic ideology. Christian nationalism is, generally speaking, pan-Protestant. And again, I think that's also a straw man. Like, he's paying these people to make these arguments. I'm not really sure that that's an argument that's been made. That's certainly not one that's been made by me. I've actually insinuated that he's capitalized on anti-Christian arguments, and he's monetized anti-Christian content, I think is the best way to put it, via New Discourses, which does promote woke views on gender, by the way. He continues, I am quite sure that this will not completely quell the constant dishonesty and attempts at creating division that our integralist frenemies have intended. We are on a battlefield of information, and bullets and bombs of this battle are dishonesty and deceitfulness. Notice how he completely neglects memes. That's how you just know that it's not true. If you are a Christian that cares about preserving the Christian faith and continuation of the gospel, you should financially support and attend events of G3 Conference, Alpha and Omega Ministries, and Baptist Network. So I think that's pretty funny because the Baptist Network sucks. Like Conservative Baptist Network, that is. They suck. They don't do much. They're a terrible organization, strategy wise, and they shouldn't be supported. They are doing good work, and the rest, they will continue to do good work without continuous stream of false accusations attached to my name and work that they have endured. If you are not a Christian but are seeking truth in an age of spiritual confusion, I can think of no better ministry to recommend than G3, Alpha and Omega, and Baptist Network. If you feel so compelled to provide financial support to these ministries that are both dedicated to fighting the degrading cultural issues of the day and for historical Orthodox biblical Christianity, then these ministries will faithfully make the best of your year-end offerings. Year-end offerings? We're in June, sir. That's an argument you make that's a plea you make in December, by the way. But again, Baptist Network is nowhere in the fight on contemporary issues. Let's just be real about that. Where were they on the whole egalitarianism in the church, running a candidate that wasn't speaking to that issue? Let's just be real. God bless all of these ministries. May they continue unabated in the work that they are called to unto the Lord. God give me a deep humility, a well-guided zeal, and a burning love, and a single eye, and then let men or devils do their worst. That's a quote from George Whitfield, and he signs off. So, yeah, not a fan of that announcement. It comes across as playing the victim, and quite honestly, I just don't believe him. I just don't think that Michael OFallon is an honest broker in all things. I think that comes across as, a high school breakup. I broke up with them. They didn't break up with me. And that might not be true for each one of those organizations, but I certainly think it's true for G3 Ministries. It's kind of shady that his departure from the board coincided with two people coming on the board, which indicates that there was some sort of corporate shakeup. And as far as CBN goes, they've done a lot of shaking up of their steering council, which at one point had over 70 people on it. It doesn't have as many people as it used to have. So they've done a lot of shaking up, a lot of adding people, a lot of subtracting people. So there's that. But kind of odd that, they would, update the website before announcing it. Usually you should do one in the same, both of them at the same time so as to avoid this. But I think Michael OFallon put out that statement because the tweet that I put out with the article gained a lot of traction on the Twitter sphere. And, he was forced to kind of address it. And address it he did. So I did provide the timestamps on the G3 ouster. As for Conservative Baptist Network, he was on there as late as 420. So I'm not entirely sure when the date was on that. But yeah, Michael OFallon has self-canceled according to him. I don't necessarily believe that. I'm going to put my conspiracy theory hat on for a second because these types of things happen all the time where people resign because of the baggage that they bring, because they're kind of being pressured to, whether by outside forces like donors or maybe he caused internal strife or something like that. That's what I think happened with G3. Don't know about the rest of the organizations. I don't think that really happened with the Conservative Baptist Network. Now, he might have made people mad there. I don't know. But that's not an organization that's really going anywhere. But for G3, I'm going to put my conspiracy theory hat. I don't believe him. So that's all I got to say about that. But this is a Christian nationalist W because, again, I did want G3 to, make peace, make an offer of peace, act in good faith in this debate. And maybe they have. I mean, on Twitter, they're still, making some clownish arguments. But this is a step in the positive direction. And you'll love to see that. I think G3 will be better for this move. And hopefully the two replacements, the two substitutions for Michael OFallon on the board will, help steer it in a good direction. So this is good news. memes do work. They do accomplish things, and it happens. So, anyway, have a blessed day, and we will catch you on the next one.